Ikiagazo kiaki. Yobotaka bwakora. Entururu. Ezukuru. Sorry sana. Watamura mugo, obe. Damamune libero, obe. Yajandira bantu baito, obe. Mandaboro beraramo, obe. Endamamune yaki, obe. Bati omino, obe. Tigatorora, obe, obe. Ya Jenny. Ya Jenny. Yanyo mwanya wazima, obe. Nisonyengo. Igakiti gakorera, obe. Nisonyengo. Kero mote kwese, obe. Nisonyengo. Soka munga ya mwate, obe. Nisonyengo. Igora tuwezana, obe. Nisonyengo. Sema ena watari, obe. Nisonyengo. Estururu. Somanyeye. Tuwanyiru kumande. Wanyiru ketururu. Yiru kemiro beta. Iwante mboka bururu. Igutaru kebururu. Noone juakai. Etumego sunyuta. Ikori ketururu. Ijelo mwalimu. Ingabe sukurunde. Masomya banda. Bande baikukamusa. Bande biasara. Upatisa. Asorora. Kaki kolye. Beiraisi. Bande baikukamusa. Asara yasoa. Terebe kondayi. Ay. Kurende na manyiye. Kurende na manyiye. Oyo yondongete. Oyo yondongete. Nanare sababu. Nanare sababu. Oyo. Eye mogongo tari. Nanare longogetia. Itigo suguba. Yangira nyumbagega. Yana kirase. Ebure kineko. Ikori yetururu. Terebe kondak. Ingane parale. Rogoru masi. Akori yetururu. Aire rompanyene. Teranyole vioye. Akonyera bande. Kurende na manyire. Kurende na manyire. Oyo ni wondongete. Nanare sababu. Nazinginye kiraya. Aya nama chef. Omole bibabita chikutalirombo. Atalire like. Kali mobolo. Nandu kuri uya vekete kirei. Dunane tumabibio umango samage na javi. Oimo kasa. Waso kimwane nukuru. Oimo koso wabari jambazi. Waso umutini usedi koiwa. Kira javengo. Eskarambeta. Kibese. Mamina nama kogu. Pero kubona nama orinye dadi. Walizo mnyabirugo kyo. Inao tabanga mangandayo. Kibese neshingo kutu wajiririe. Aze tokare koyunga tolikia. Embura yato tuera. Bantu bangu nanya kolino kuwanta. Emoti manya mbego nye itamu iramu bakilasi yako be. Basi ngwane lilene choma makori getondo kubo. Wahia tiriva. Nomu minadolika. Tari si mbugu wangona. Kakona chazo nikiage kanyimbo. Iso ndiye kikuba nzamu ya nyamira kuna lipu ya kimengenye. Yani kulipu ya kimengenye.
I'm Molly Bloom.
Dubbed the Poker Princess, the former waitress who
took a small poker game run out of a dingy nightclub
to the biggest underground poker game in the world.
for Hollywood celebrities to millionaires.
They literally made a Hollywood movie about it.
The game turned from legal to illegal.
I had become the biggest game runner in New York City. Leo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Tobey Maguire, politicians. I was making $4 to $6 million a year. It was unbelievable. $250,000 buy-in.
So I couldn't sit down unless I brought $250,000
$50,000 to lose.
That's right.
And you saw someone lose $100 million in a night.
Yes. This is where the science of how you make people feel became a really big tool. And I would memorize people's lives, the names of their kids, what they cared about, favorite food order, drink order. These things can absolutely be used for good, but I just became obsessed. What had been about trying to be an entrepreneur and be gutsy started to be exclusively about the money and the power. But I paid a huge price for it. I started to partner with people that were not the right people to partner with. In the middle of the night, I get arrested by 17 FBI agents, machine guns. They put me in handcuffs and they put this piece of paper in front of me that says the United States of America versus Molly Bloom.
The FBI gives you an ultimatum. They're going to give you millions if you snitch on the players in the game.
I had 48 hours.
What happens then? Before this episode starts, I have a small favor to ask from you. 2 months ago, 74% of people that watch this channel didn't subscribe. We're now down to 69%. My goal is 50%. So if you've ever liked any of the videos we've posted, if you like this channel, can you do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know, and the bigger the channel gets, as you've seen, the bigger the guests get. Thank you and enjoy this episode. Molly, what do I need to understand about your earliest context to understand you?
Going right in. I think it almost always starts with the family in childhood. And I am from a family of, my two little brothers are incredible humans, but like the craziest overachievers you could ever imagine. And then I have these two incredible parents who were very powerful influences in our lives. My dad stood on this platform of you cultivate discipline, and if you have a fear, you walk through it. And you learn how to suffer constructively for your dreams, for your goals. And then my mom, she insisted on kindness and integrity. So there was this whole ecosystem of extraordinary. And I didn't know how I fit into that at all. And I desperately wanted a seat at that table. And probably during the times that we were raised, there are these ideas of what success looked like and how you get there. And it was genius and talent and specific skill set, but I knew that I had to be successful and this is not hyperbolic, I literally did not want to live. I remember when I was applying to law school, I said to my dad, if I don't get into an Ivy League law school, I don't know, how, I don't want to live. And
Did you mean that?
It's hard to know what you mean at 18 years old, but in my mind, you need clear proof and evidence that you are extraordinary by these accomplishments. And my brothers had already started to make that happen. And
Why law? Why law?
Because one day at the dinner table, my dad said to me, "Do you like to argue and read a lot? Maybe you should go to law school." And then I started to kind of read books about the law and fiction a lot. I loved stories, and then started to think about getting paid to argue for a living and all the glory that could come from that if you're fighting for justice or you're fighting to save somebody who's innocent. The sort of high points, the aspirational points of what it would be like to be a lawyer in a movie or a book.
You're thinking about the glory?
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you think you cared so much about glory?
I don't think I cultivated much self-esteem. I don't think I knew who I was, and I don't think that I believed I was inherently worthy. I believed that I had to achieve something big, huge, extraordinary, worldly, in order to then feel relief from that existential ache of that followed me around my whole life.
So you go off and try and pursue a career in law. At least that's what you think you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Harvard, right?
Well, I wanted to go to Harvard. I didn't even end up going at all, or even finishing my last semester and a half at school, because I just couldn't muster the energy and ambition it took to go do all these things. I had hit a wall, and I think I was really questioning the conventionality of it all. So I ended up not applying to law schools and then just saying, I just need a year. And the closest place that was warm on the ocean from Colorado in a straight line was California.
When you moved here, your father, again, bringing him back into the picture, he's a very ambitious person. How did he receive this news that you were coming to LA?
Not happy about it. Not going to financially support it. Really disappointed.
So you get here and he's no longer supporting you financially at all. Mm-hmm. So what did you do to make money?
I mean, I got a job. I had to get a job the day I got here. And I went to this restaurant in Beverly Hills. Got a job for a couple days. It was terrible. And then I went to this other restaurant. And kind of lied and said, because no one else was hiring in this Beverly Hills area. And it was a fine dining establishment. And I lied and said that I had fine dining experience. I got fired. A couple weeks later, my boss said, "You're the worst waitress we've ever seen, and you've ruined thousands of dollars of bottles of wine trying to open them." He said, "But, people seem to take to you, and you're a hard worker, so why don't you come work for our real estate development company as my executive assistant?"
Oh, so it was the boss of the restaurant that offered you the job as the executive?
Yes, they had a bunch of holdings. They had some real estate, they had some restaurants, They had a fund.
So you became his EA, his PA?
Yeah.
And this led you to poker?
Yes, he came in the office one day and he said, and there are always zany things sort of thrown at me. And he said, "I need you to serve drinks at my poker game tomorrow night." And I tell this story because it's just so indicative of the naivete and where I was. I remember Googling what kind of music do poker players like to listen to and what do they eat. And then I proceeded to make this incredibly embarrassing playlist with songs like The Gambler on it, and got this cheese plate and showed up for this very fancy poker game in Hollywood with A-list celebrities. And, there's some names of people that have already talked about being in the games, and those are the names that I don't mind naming just to give context. It was Ben Affleck and Tobey Maguire and Leo DiCaprio. And then, but apart from the actors, it was also the head of some of the biggest investment banks in the world and the head of some of the biggest movie studios and politicians who were household names and people in the tech world that were about to take their companies public. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Quite a few people have come out, as you say, and said that they played in those games.
Yeah.
I was watching a video earlier of even Dan Bilzerian, I think, says...
Yes, Dan played.
He played in those games. Were those games legal or illegal?
Legal to play in.
Legal to play in.
For sure. Legal... When I started running the games, I hired defense attorneys and had them analyze the federal statutes and to help me figure out a way to do it legally. Because in the early days, I wouldn't have done it illegally.
#1 most influential marketing chief.
It's an international phenomenon.
Has led marketing and branding at some of the biggest companies in the world.
Who have you worked for?
Apple, Netflix, Pepsi, Spike Lee. He was walking by with a script under his arm, and I took a red pen to it. I was a receptionist. I really did think I was getting fired that day, but intuition and creativity and following your gut made me be successful. Oftentimes, we're in these situations that aren't serving us, and we're thinking about how the other person's going to feel. You are going to be unsatisfied with your life. That is the scariest thing. Be selfish in your life, in your career. I didn't want anything to stop me. But I was about 5 months pregnant when very quickly things descended into hell. I had a condition where the pregnancy is like attacking you. Then the doctor says to my husband, Peter, you save her or you save the baby. Which one is it? She didn't survive. It was the beginning of the big fractures in our relationship. We were no longer a team.
A few years later, he gets diagnosed with cancer after you've separated.
We had to make a choice to have the conversations, which were about forgiveness. Anger and misunderstanding really did not matter. We're going to be together to the last heartbeat.
Before this episode starts, I have a small favor to ask from you. 2 months ago, 74% of people that watch this channel didn't subscribe. We're now down to 69%. My goal is 50%. So if you've ever liked any of the videos we've posted, if you like this channel, can you do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know, and the bigger the channel gets, as you've seen, the bigger the guests get. Thank you and enjoy this episode. Bose.
Yes.
You've overcome so much. You refer to yourself often as a phoenix.
Yes.
I've heard you describe yourself as that. So take me back, because there's a certain distinctive brilliance and character to you that I know isn't common. And that uniqueness is what makes you brilliant. So take me right back to the beginning. What do I need to know about you to understand the person sat in front of me? Going right back to the start.
Oh, gosh. Well, as a phoenix, there isn't just one rising, for me. So if there's anything to know, it is that my world has burned a few times and that I have risen every time. Now, I wouldn't say that I rise right away. It's not that kind of miracle. It's the dusting off. It's the letting the feathers grow back. It is the, can I fly again? Let me try. Ooh, this really hurts. Let me sit down. Try one more time. And then I'm off. So that means that it's everything from being, 5 years old and living in Ghana, and my father being in politics and the government being overthrown in political coup, and having to uproot ourselves out of Ghana. I mean, that my whole world burned at that point. Or it is when I was 12 and we had lived in numerous places in Africa and then moved to Colorado Springs, Colorado. And again, the world shifted and burned, and I'd have to recreate myself.
Those first 12 years, when you look back on the most significant fingerprints they left on you and your character, what are those?
Probably my ability to survive, get to know people quickly, understand who is a friend and who's a foe quickly, being able to read people, I would say almost immediately. I don't need a lot of proof. I can tell on the first question whether or not you have good intentions for me.
Do I have good intentions for you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Your desire to be able to relate to the person in front of you, is that also linked to, because it was clear when I was reading about your story that you had a very early love of culture, and just what's going on in the world,
yeah, but that was survival. That wasn't this battle of nature versus nurture. I think I have some of it naturally, my curiosity about people and the things that surround me in pop culture, but it was certainly nurtured. This idea of I have to understand everything that's happening in this society so I can talk to you, so I can seem normal to you. So that meant that okay, I have to understand American football inside and out. Friday night lights were a big deal in Colorado. So I need to understand what's happening in the field so I don't annoy people with cheering at the wrong time. Or music, understanding what was happening at the time and being able to sing along to lyrics or argue with somebody in the hallway about my favorite pop star, or fashion. Make sure that the crease on my jeans was perfect, or the way I folded it over and doubled it up was right. All of those things are nurtured. And so it created a lifelong student of pop culture. So it means that every time that something new would happen, I'd be the first on it. I'd be the one who'd be like, let me figure out what that is. I need to understand all of it, because should I be in a situation where I'm in front of somebody who really likes that thing, I want to be able to talk to them. I want to be able for them to understand that I understand what they're talking about. I'm not so strange.
And that explains in large part why you pursued creativity and marketing, or at least why you ended up there. But do you think it's hard to be yourself when you're trying to survive?
Yeah, I think so.
Were you being yourself as you reflect on that chapter of your life, the pre-18?
Left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have turned out to be too much of a people pleaser. But thankfully, I had a mother who was, both my parents, but my mother in particular was very focused on making sure that all of us girls, I have 3 younger sisters, understood our worth and the way that we contribute. So in the process, so imagine I'm 12 and I'm here trying to understand all the American things. And I come home and I've finally broken through the inner circle of the cool girls. And they've now said they want to come over to my house. And here I am in front of my mother, my very Ghanaian, very proud mother. And I'm saying, I'm going to need you to buy some pizza, get some Fanta up in here, okay? Like French fries, I don't know what it is. Get all the American foods, chicken nuggets, the things they like. And she's like, absolutely not. They're going to eat fufu. They're going to have some pepper soup. They're going to eat with their hands. Because that's what we do in this house. And I'm sitting there like, you've got to be kidding me. Are you, you want to destroy me? I'm just learning how to get along with these people. And the lesson there, and by the way, she wasn't cryptic about it. She was very direct, very straightforward. And she was like, when you go to their house, you do the things they want to do. When they come to your house, they do the things you want to do. She did not mince words, and at 12 she said that. Maybe I couldn't have articulated it then, but I certainly understand it very clearly now, which is that I had to understand my own worth. What am I bringing to the table? Not just about what they have and what they're trying to do and they're trying to communicate, but what is it that I'm bringing, so that the pride I have in my own culture, in my own skin, in my own uniqueness is as important as the things that they like.
Regardless of apparent consequence.
Oh, yeah.
Because throughout, whether it's the corporate world or our professional lives, there's always an apparent consequence which holds us back.
Absolutely.
Do you think being the oldest of four sisters, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think being the oldest of 4 sisters shaped your personality?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I'm the boss. No question about it. But also that was how our household ran. It's like my dad made no small beans of saying, reminding me constantly that you're the oldest, you have to set the tone, you lead the example, your sisters will follow you. He says that today. I think he said that to me last week. He's like,
what's he like?
Oh, my dad. Oh, my God. He is the type of person who absorbs information and holds it and then can spit it back at you. He doesn't need a lot of time to understand concepts or things. I mean, he's a self-taught musician. He didn't go to high school. He didn't go to middle school or high school, but has 2 PhDs. And my dad has very, very high standards. So that is the person that I grew up with.
What impression did he give you about what success was and looked like? And also, in doing so, what failure was?
Success meant financial independence and financial success. You needed to make a certain amount of money in order to have the nice things. The nice house, the nice car, the vacations, all the things. Success also meant big titles. So early on in my career, I remember wanting to take a job that had a lesser title than the one I was leaving. And my dad hated that. You know, he was just like, oh, but you're taking steps backwards. And my thought was like, well, it's not really, because the responsibilities are different and better, and they're going to get me closer to the place I want to go. You don't understand that, but I understand that. But to him, that was failure. And so that certainly changed the way that I think about, you know, my own upward mobility. That for some time I did chase titles, you know, but the truth of the matter is that a title isn't going to give you power. You know, a title doesn't actually give you anything. It's like what I've learned about leadership is that you have to convince the people who are around you that you are right, that you have a good idea, and that they should input into that thing, and then they will follow you. You think just because you have a chief title that somebody's going to follow you or not think you're stupid? There are plenty of people out there who have, you know, that title and teams who don't respect them. And so for me, I think those early lessons they had their good things and their bad things. You know, and the good things were that me understanding that my dad's understanding of what success looked like in terms of titles was not necessarily the only way.
What does give you power then? So if the title doesn't give you power, what does give you power?
Influence. You know, there's a couple of things. So that's a really complicated question. It's like, talent alone doesn't do it. Again, met many talented people who couldn't lead anybody. You know? And you have many leaders who have no talent. So it's like it's an interesting combination of those two things. Like, you have to be able to be on the ground and do the work. You also have to convince other people, so that's where the influence comes in, that the idea that you have, or the way that you're saying we should go, is the right thing, and then get them to follow you, and then you must execute. You actually have to be right.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you do that enough times, then it becomes unquestionable. You know, that's when the reputation precedes you. That's when, you know, at least for me, it's like I get into a new job and people expect a certain thing. It's like, oh, I've seen you do that over there. Or I had a friend who worked for you at this place, and they said you did. Oh.
So your first sort of real significant career move seemed to be this encounter with Spike Lee's agency.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, who is Spike Lee?
Okay.
And how did that happen?
Spike Lee is blackety black, first of all. All the blackness. No, but he is a film director, really, at his core. Filmmaker, let's call it that, because he certainly produces and does other things and writes. But he has an advertising agency in New York. When I was there, it was on Madison Avenue. So Madison Avenue is like the place for advertising in the world, right? It's the place where the show Mad Men was made from. So DDB is one of the biggest agencies, and Spike had a JV with them.
What brought you to New York in the first place?
Curiosity. I graduated from Wesleyan University, which was in Middletown, Connecticut, and it was just time to apply to med school, and I really didn't want to. And New York was right there. It was like an hour and a half from school, and I really didn't have a plan. Yeah, I just went, trying to escape what I thought was my destiny. And like many people say, I think sometimes in this business, I kind of fell into this. But I think my destiny actually came to find me. That's what it was. I opened up and allowed for something greater that I didn't even know was possible to find me instead.
So many people are in that chat.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running. That's why at Grainger, we're here for you. With professional-grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
They're in that chapter of their life where they're trying to find their destiny, or trying to help, trying to figure out a way to let their destiny find them.
Yeah.
When you look back and connect the dots as to how your career came to be, and you think about that first moment where you went to New York, and then you're on Madison Avenue, you're working for Spike Lee, and you find your destiny, or it finds you. If your daughter comes to you and says, "Mum, what advice have you got for me on finding my destiny? Like, what have I got to do to actively bring it about?"
Woo! Have you ever heard that statement like, let go and let God?
No.
Have you heard that before?
No.
It's a very Christian thing. I feel like in the black church, there's a lot of that. Let go and let God. As if God is just gonna just sprinkle magic dust over you. And I'm like, no, I don't necessarily believe that. Just as a plain statement, I think the letting go is an action. It's not surrender. It's like you just lay down and it's gonna find you. You're not gonna find your destiny sitting on the couch. The letting go for me is like the letting go of preconceived ideas about what it is that you are going to do. Letting go of sometimes you're like trying to do something and keep hitting a wall. You're just like, if I just hit it one more time, it's gonna break. Sometimes it's like, that's a cement wall, right? If you just move 5 feet to the right, it's actually plaster. And you're gonna go right through it. It's like sometimes it's the letting go of this thought that you had, which is like, I'm going to do this thing right here, is the magic. And I'll tell you this, look, it didn't just happen at that stage of my life. It's happening right now. Where, I'm like, okay, well, I think I am done with my corporate CMO work. I believe I'm finished. So I'm going to let go. Let go of it. I'm not going to be actively looking for the next CMO job. I want whatever is coming for me to come. I'm going to allow space for it. Now, it doesn't mean I'm just sitting around. I'm also, trying to polish other skills. I'm trying to create, because perhaps the next thing that's coming is somewhere more in that space. I can feel it, like in my spirit. And that understanding of like your intuition, and if you're listening to it, it's like a magnet. It's going to just draw you closer to the thing that you're supposed to do. And it has happened every single time. Like every time, without fail. Like every job, every move I've made hasn't been because somebody said, you know what? This makes logical sense. 1 + 1 = 2. Sometimes I'm just like, but it's not math though. It's physics. Like it's not the addition, it's the subtraction. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go talk to this person and I'm going to talk to that person. I'm going to sit back down again and I'm going to write this thing out. And then, like magic, because I don't know how else to describe it, it's like the destiny appears. I'm telling you, every time it has happened. Every single time. Even when people were like, that is never going to happen. Like, you're wasting your time. I don't know why you'd go over there and do that. I'm like, I don't know. Something inside, I'm telling you, is telling me that this is the way to go. I'm going to go over there. Every time it's worked.
But do you believe, so there's a lot there for me. There's a lot that I'm interested in there. Do you believe, because I want to be clear, are you, because some people hear that and go, love that. Everything happens for a reason. I'm going to chill. And my fate is pre-written and it's coming for me. Said all I got to do is wait. And it's going to, because everything happens for a reason. It's pre-written. So I just got to play these tarot cards and I'm going to...
No. This is when I start banging on the table. No.
I just chill here.
No, don't chill in here, okay? I think you're probably talking about energy. I'm not one of those chill in here type people anyway, And I don't believe things are pre-written, actually. Like, for me, the idea of destiny isn't that something is already predetermined for you. I think you create your destiny also. Meaning that, like, look, there was a movie in the late 90s called Sliding Doors, starred Gwyneth Paltrow. The concept is basically like, if you're running for the train and you catch it, you jump inside, you have one destiny. If the doors close, you still stand on platform, then you have to catch the next train, it takes you to a different destiny. That's the concept, right? It is what I also believe, which is that like my destiny is not pre-written, but the movements that I make are what lead me to the thing that's actually for me. And so it's a constant evolution. So I don't believe that you have to sit and wait for it. I think your constant movement, your constant discovery is actually what then brings the destiny to you. So this isn't about predetermined anything, or just like, let me just chill out on, like I said, you can't sit on the couch and expect your destiny to come for you.
So it's not reading my horoscope,
No.
tarot cards, and
No disrespect to the tarot card readers. But I do believe that we are constantly creating our destiny. You know, that this life that we're living, these experiences, the people we're meeting, the people you're in relationships with, ooh, it happens because there's a certain action that you take that leads you to that thing. Now, it's your choice whether or not you take it. And then that's when the whole intuition thing comes up for me, right? Because I'm like, now, you may have caused a lot of action, and then you have a couple of choices in front of you. Where are you going? Which one is calling you? And then you know what people like to do? They want to write pro and con lists. They want to ask people for advice. Do you think I should do this or should I do that? Both of these look good. Why are you asking other people? They don't know. They're not living your life. They don't have the whole destiny. They have their own thing. Like, why are you asking them? And if you got quiet for a second and heard your intuition, but then again, sometimes people are scared, right? Because it's telling you to do something that you probably don't want to do. You're a little scared of it. And then you're going to choose the wrong thing.
it's hard to hear your intuition when George is very loudly telling you.
Yes.
George being your father.
Yes.
and everyone can relate. There's always an external voice which is very loud, whether it's social expectation or Instagram or George.
Yeah.
Saying that this is the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
like, how do you tune into your intuition and out of George?
It's like any muscle. You know, it's like, look, we all have biceps. But some people's biceps are enormous.
Thank you.
That was good. that was super smooth. That was really nice. Nicely done. But it is like any muscle. You know, you got to work it. You've got to listen to it. You have to make it brave to talk to you. You know, I kind of feel like it's like that friend. Now, this is not about multiple personalities, but you know, it's like that friend who's talking to you inside your head. You know, and like, if you keep dissing it and keep being like, shut up. No, that's a bad idea. If you keep doing that, that voice gonna get quieter and quieter. What makes you think it's gonna ever be like, listen, Bose, I told you. No. Look, my intuition is so loud. Oh, there's no way. Oh, I meet people and will be like, that person's not for me. And no. By the way, somebody else will be like, oh, that is a very powerful person. You know, they'll introduce you to this other person, or, oh, they're so smart. They've done this and that and that and that and that. Not for me. No. So I'm not even going to engage. Like, my intuition is that strong. I trust it 100%.
Because you've had to train it, right?
Yes. I've had to allow it to lead me.
Is that because of what you said earlier about the survival and the pattern recognition is developed now, where you can kind of, you see a couple of cues, your intuition goes, oh, we met this person a couple of times.
Yes.
It never ended well.
Yes, that's part of it, for sure. Like, throughout my life, I've had to listen to my intuition, allow it to lead me, even when other people were like, no, whether it was my dad or a friend or a mentor, a boss. You know, when they've been like, no, that's not the thing you want to do. You should do this. This will be more successful for you. And then my intuition was like, actually, I don't think so. I think you need to go this way. It is so hard. I'm not pretending as if like this is the easy thing where it's like, oh, just listen to your intuition, you'll be fine. The thing is dumb hard. You know, it's like, look, because sometimes the logic makes a lot more sense than your intuition. And so I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is the only choice if you want to be successful. And successful to me these days means that I am happy and at peace and enjoying the thing I'm doing. It's no longer about the title or the house or the thing. Like, do I have freedom? Oh, man. Like, and freedom isn't just like, oh, I can do whatever the hell I want. Freedom is that, like, I can be working on a campaign and not sleep for 3 days because I'm so excited about it. That's the kind of freedom I'm talking about. Like, really enjoying the things that I'm doing. And if I am listening to my intuition, it's going to lead me to those opportunities that allow me to have that kind of experience with people or with jobs or with whatever?
It's such an important question that I don't think people ask themselves there, which is, what is your definition of success? And I know it's kind of like a fluffy question or whatever else, but once you have that as your North Star, it completely changes your like direction of travel.
Right.
So like that central question, I think, and everyone listening to this now, like what is your truly your definition of success? Because if you're not clear on it, someone else is going to write that definition for you.
Yes.
And it might be George. You know what I mean?
Yes. Or anybody else.
Or someone else.
You know what I mean?
Or Instagram might write it for you.
Or your partner.
And you're gonna go down that path and find yourself lost.
Oh my God.
And it will just be a feeling inside your chest that says, "Whoa, we made a wrong turning."
Every time. You know, sometimes that shows up in the Sunday scaries.
Oh my God, yeah.
It shows up there.
We're having a conversation about this yesterday. Oh, yesterday was this, but on Sunday. We're like, isn't it strange that it's Monday tomorrow and none of us have, it's not crossed any of our minds?
Exactly. Or freaked out about it. God, it's like, man, when I started recognizing that Sunday scaries were tied to my wrong turns. Guess who jumped into the driver's seat real quick? Me. You know, it's like, look, and again, we're not making light of it being like, oh, this is so easy, just change direction, you know? But it's so helpful when you recognize it and then you're like, oh, okay, now I can do something about this. You know, it's like, right? Isn't that the first step of